maybe can you give some good examples of some of your Irish businesses that
Sure.
have really done well with this? Sort of some proper, this company is using these tools in this way.
I think in the B2B space, and this is primarily where I deal, it boils down to, you know, there's not a lot of the companies in the B2B space who are going to do an online sale. It's very, you know, that's certainly the minority. So people using social media to drive direct online sales through a website are in the minority. So it would tend to be more about establishing thought leadership in a space in your sector. And this comes back to one of the earlier points I made about passion. It's the companies who are passionate that stick in your memory, right? So I see thousands of companies using Twitter, and I see thousands of companies writing blogs, and it's the ones who are the nerds about their subject that stick in my head. They're the ones that I remember. So there's a company called Maxroam, who are one of our Cork-based companies, and they produce. Actually saw them in my Ryanair magazine this morning when I flew over. They've partnered with Ryanair. They do a roaming SIM card, and it works in like hundreds of countries around the world, and it's operator free, and you pay one rate for it. This is the advertising steal for Pat Phelan. He's going to be delighted. But okay, right? They do the SIM card, right? And that's their offer. It's a consumer play. In a way, but then they partner with the likes of Ryanair, and they partner with travel companies as well. But their head of product development, and he used to be the CEO of the company, Pat Phelan, is a phone nerd. He's a mobile phone nerd. He knows more about mobile devices than anybody else I know.
Yeah.
And that's what he talks about on his blog, on his Facebook, on Twitter, on other people's blogs. And he's in my head. If I ever have a question about which operating system works better on this Android phone, or you know, what do you think Apple are going to do next in the tablet space, whatever it happens to be, Pat Phelan is the guy. He's my go-to guy. He is the absolute legend in the mobile phone space, and he's up there worldwide. You know, he's an internationally recognized commentator on the mobile and telecom space because he's a phone nerd.
So is he strongest as his own name, or is it strong within the business?
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Well, I mean, it is an individual engagement platform. You know, it is one-to-one. It is Pat. He is the guy. And if Pat left Maxroam, which is the company, he's still Pat and knows everything about the phones, and Maxroam now just sell you SIM cards, right? So that's a problem. But he's the passionate guy, and he is plugging Maxroam every now and again. And you know, he'll link to the blog, and he'll link into the corporate side, and he'll mention it where it's appropriate, and he's very good at doing that. But you're right. It's Pat, it's not Maxroam. But that's the engagement process, isn't it? I don't want to engage with the company. I also know Pat, you know, has a couple of kids, and he likes fast cars and all that kind of stuff, and I get this rounded picture of him because
is this almost a new element when companies are recruiting new people? You want to recruit people that have got these kind of characters and charisma and can engage and get the following and the buy-in.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I don't think it's ever a bad idea to engage with their customers, because you're always going to learn something of value from them. So certainly someone who might be extremely passionate about what they do but can't communicate that, you know, and isn't prepared. Well, you know, like they know something really, really well, but then maybe there's different platforms for them to engage on, right? Okay, something like Facebook and Twitter tends to be very pacey, and you tend to get a deeper picture of that person, because they won't use Facebook or Twitter or those sort of social networking platforms just for the thing that they want to talk about. They'll drop in something else. I went to the cinema, I met some friends, blah 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 blah. I went to a party. Did you see that? XYZ, whatever it happens to be. So you get you get a flavour of the person, right? Blogs are probably a better place to broadcast niche nerd information, where all you want to talk about is that niche nerd information, right? So I want to write a blog post about a development in some industrial sector that I'm working on, and I want people to know that I really know my stuff, and I'm adding some value to what's happening in that conversation. But you don't need to know the last 10 things that I ate.
No.
You know, or my take on the political situation in Afghanistan, wherever it happens to be. You know, that's not important. What's important is my sectoral knowledge. Then a blog is probably a better platform for that in the business-to-business space. That's what tends to work well.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Any other good examples of businesses that might have good use of this?
On the complete flip side, there's a Dublin-based company called LA Makeup, and they are a makeup and beauty training academy, and so they've got like training sessions, and they've got studios in Dublin, and I think they're in London, I think they're in Los Angeles, and they're consumer play. You can book training courses online, and they're a very good business, and they're growing well. And what they do is they get their makeup and beauty experts to give advice on makeup and beauty to the consumer space. So they'll comment on new products, and they'll comment on new techniques, and they do that very well. So they're becoming thought leaders in that space, and they're using their Facebook page really, really well for that. So they've gotten very well branded, and they're seeking a lot of engagement. So they're asking for feedback on what they think. So we say, well, we reviewed this product, what do you think? And they're getting really good engagement there, but that's a massive resource strain, and there's quite a number of people in the organisation who are just doing that. They're taking turns on the Twitter or taking turns on the Facebook, but what they do really well is that they're using YouTube to give a really, really good picture of their training courses, because they film all of their students presenting their pieces or whatever, their latest creation, whatever it happens to be. So there's a huge amount of content coming out of that. And you need to look at your business and say, how can I take what it is that I consider everyday business and just what I do as normal, and can I give that to the public as a value add? Because what I think is everyday and normal, some people will actually find extremely useful when they're making a decision about my business. Yeah. So video is a good way of communicating that. So if you can use video in that way, that's certainly a very good example.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the name again. It's LA Makeup, just in case anyone didn't hear. The link will flash at the bottom of the screen.
That's it. Click here now. Yeah, but that's a good point actually, because it's back to this. It's a little bit of this freebie model as well, isn't it? So this is what they do every day, but they manage to give it away for free, but it has value and it brings people back.
So you're dead right. They're doing it anyway. It's part of their business. It doesn't take an awful lot of effort for them to video it, stick up a camera, and away you go. They have to do that stuff anyway. They have to evaluate their students. The students have to do the projects. Chuck it out there. Someone might use it.
Thank you very much.
Good. Yeah.